Greetings and happy holidays, everybody. My name is Ben, and welcome back to the bench for another episode of the 12 Sprues of Christmas. We're actually putting the Lag 3 on hold. Usually I have a Lag 3 episode out on Mondays, but we're going to be putting that on the back burner for now and pushing forward on the 12 Sprues because, well, I am running behind. I want to go ahead and get these all finished up. So let's go ahead and pull that box here and let us choose our next day. Now, we have one row completed. We have done quite an assortment of different kits and whatnot, so I am going to move on to the second row, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to start here on the left-hand side and work our way to the right. So that's what we're going to do, and I'm hoping we get something a little bit better than our F16 from last episode. So let's go ahead and punch on through this one here on the second row, and right on through there, reach on inside, fish around a little bit. Oh, I got it. Let's go ahead and pull that out, see what we have. Oh, an F15. Okay. All right. I think that's an Academy kit, though, so I don't know. Ooh, 2 Academy kits in a row. Go ahead and pull out that kit and see what we have. So here we go, 1/144 scale, Academy F15. I'm a little bit concerned about this one, guys. The F16 was, really difficult in shape issues, and I'm not sure what this one looks like, so let's go ahead and open up the box and check the shape. Hopefully it's a little bit better than the F16. Again, we are greeted with our standard single poly bag with all of our parts and pieces on the inside, and a couple extra pieces of paper and our decals with instruction manual, so that's pretty decent. Let's go ahead and just put this aside. I don't need anything else in here. Yeah, don't need any of this stuff. So I'm going to check out the plastics. Plastics look pretty decent. Already I can tell the shape issues are not as severe on this one as they were on the F16. That F16 had some really bad shape issues around the nose and all that. The intakes on this one look better too. The F16 has some trouble with those intakes. So yeah, I think this is probably a little bit better kit than the F16 was. Opening up the instruction manual here, we can see very simple, just a couple of steps, 4 steps total. And last step here is just putting on some Sparrow missiles. So, all right, not too bad. I'm probably going to go ahead and fold up the landing gears on this one as well, seeing as it is an Academy kit and it might have some issues here and there. I'm not going to be worried too much about displaying it in all of its glory. We're just going to fold them up and put them on the tree. Now, we have to go ahead and just jump right on in here. Looks like we have our color callouts, and I'm going to have to go ahead and pre-mix some colors. I don't have these colors to call out for, so that's going to be a little troublesome. I did that for the F16, though, and it worked out all right. I'm not really going to complain about that too much. Kind of a neat color scheme, so let's just see what we got. Let's go ahead and open up the plastic here and check out our sprues. See how these pieces look. Already I can tell they are a lot cleaner and better in accuracy, at least from our first glance, so that's kind of nice. Again, no cockpit detail, but we do have actual frames in this canopy, which I like that. It's going to make it a whole lot easier to mask. Though with no detail on the inside cockpit, I'm probably just going to go ahead and overcoat the inside of it with some Tamiya smoke. It's great for tinting canopies, and this ought to be pretty simple to do. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on in with a time lapse. We're just going to, like usual, push through and get all these nicely assembled. Like I said, I'm probably going to go ahead and close up the landing gear bays. There's not a lot of detail in there anyway. And then we can just overcoat with some primer, sand everything down. Looks like they'll fit in nicely, so probably a lot better than the F16 did, that's for sure. All right, let's go ahead and push on forward, cue up that time lapse, guys, and just see what we can do. We have a lot of work to do here, and I'm hoping this goes a lot easier than it did before. Fingers crossed, let's do it. Alright everybody, so we have the majority of the aircraft put together. I left off the vertical stabilizers only because I want to go ahead and work on some of the seams, and I really don't want to have to fight the airplane too much, and the more you put on, the more likely it is to break something off. Instead, we're just going to focus on the seams, and I'm going to do what I can with the extra thin cement and my jeweler files. Once I have the basic seams kind of ironed out, then I can go back. I can start using some super glue for filler for some of the gnarlier areas that are damaged. Overall, I can say that the fit on this kit is much better than it was on the F-16. That I'm very happy about, because that F-16, oh boy, that was a tough one. These lines here on the F-15 look a lot better. They look more like what I know an F-15 looks like, so I'm happy about that. The vertical stabilizers look a little bit different though, so we'll check that more when we actually get them onto the aircraft. Moving right along, we're going to go ahead and use some super glue like always to go ahead and fill in some of the smaller seams and some of the damaged areas where the plastic was just a little bit too thick when I cut them off the sprue. So far, I'm really liking how this is coming together. The seams aren't too bad. You might notice on the time lapse, I did actually cut off some blanking plates to go into the back of the air intakes. It was just a big gaping hole in there, and I didn't want people looking down and seeing that there was nothing in there, so instead I just blanked them off. So far, I think that's a big improvement, because if I didn't have those on, you could totally see light coming through. So I think this is going to be a really good step to make. Also, I do need to use some plasticard here just to go ahead and fill in a couple of some extra open seams, but that shouldn't be too tough. After that, I'll overcoat with some super glue, and I think we should be good. Now let's go ahead and put on the vertical stabilizers. I have most of the areas kind of lined up and smoothed out, so I'm happy about that. The super glue is drying nicely, and I think we are looking pretty decent. We're going to go ahead and just queue up another time lapse. We're going to come back. We're going to clean up a couple areas here and there. We're going to glue these down, of course, and make sure that these are nicely attached. And then I think we are looking right on schedule. Now these vertical stabilizers look a little bit off to me, like they're too vertical. I thought they had a little bit more upward slope to them, but maybe I'm off. I'm not sure. I don't have any plans to check them against. It's fine. Remember, this is 1/144 scale, and it's Academy, so we'll have some discrepancies, but overall, I think it's a vastly better looking model than the F-16. Let's go ahead and get on to the final sanding part, polish out some of those seams, then we're going to get to prime, pre-shade, and finally color. So let's go ahead and do it and get this thing moving. Alright everybody, so we have the F-15 more or less ready to finally put on the decals, and I'm excited to try that now. We're going to go ahead and cut these out, cue up a time lapse, and push through. I'm going to use my exact same technique as I always do, a little bit of microset. Drop that decal down, cover it with microsol, and we're good to go. After the decals have dried, we're going to use our custom mixture of satin that we made out of Winsor Newton matte varnish and then a little bit of Future. So let's go ahead and cue up that time lapse and get this thing finished off, and then we'll be back with the final reveal. All right, everybody, we are ready to show you the finished version of our F15 by Academy, and here it is. I'm very happy to be done with this kit. It turned out decently, I have to say. Even though it is Academy and it did run into a few issues here and there, honestly, it's a good looking little model. Way better than the F16, for sure. The overall lines are better, the detail is better, it's crisper, it just has a better, more accurate design, so I'm happy with how it looks. We did have a few issues though. For example, the decals. Ooh, the missiles, also very tough. We just had some issues with it. Regarding the decals, well, they disintegrated on me. I lost the front tactical numbers because they just absolutely just fell apart. And that's unfortunate. But we did the best we could. The other decals went on all right. They started kind of breaking apart as I tried to kind of shift them onto the model. That's no good. I did a little bit of weathering with airbrushing instead of having to use any sort of washes or any sort of weathering powders. I just didn't really want to fool with that for this model. And those missiles absolutely had no locating pins whatsoever. So you just kind of had to eye them and hope for the best and glue them on. But aside from all of that, this has been a really fun little build. The decals and missiles aside, the shape is fairly accurate as far as I can tell. Of course, no detail on the inside of the cockpit, but that's okay. I just frosted it over with a little bit of Tamiya smoke. I dropped in some blanking plates there on the back of the intakes, and I think it's ready to go onto the tree. I'm happy. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little look at the F15 by Academy in 1/144 scale. We're going to go ahead and jump back on to day number 6. Have a video up for you as soon as I can. But until then, we're going to call it quits. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, take care of yourselves on this holiday season. And we'll see you back here on the next episode of the 12 Sprues of Christmas. Until then, take care, and we'll see you soon.